How's it going, everyone? Boy, oh boy, does this Bungie saga just continue to devolve into absolute madness. We'll first talk about the cancellation of what was commonly referred to as Destiny 3, or the next installment of the Destiny franchise. Jeff Grubb gave some insight on the future of Bungie as well. There's a lot of people that have been responding as far as inside Bungie people laid off, whole teams getting wrecked, and obviously, I'd be remiss if I don't mention what went on with the Cars and Pete Parsons. That story is just so insane and probably a bigger reflection of issues larger than just gaming, but we'll talk about that. I am not an expert on the world and the country and politics and all this kind of stuff, and it's heartbreaking, especially with all of the layoffs, so we'll talk about that as well. But right off the top, Bungie has reportedly canceled codenamed Payback, and it was more so the next installment of Destiny, the next major installment. Final Shape looked to be the cap-off to this saga of Destiny. Obviously, Destiny 2 will continue to get updated and everything like that well into next year. But there was a lot of talk about what the future of Destiny was going to be, and this Payback title, whatever it was, codenamed Payback, a lot of us were expecting that to be Destiny 3. However, Jeff Grubb Insider noted on Games Mess Morning that Payback, which was internally referred to as the next Destiny, was a project that was affected. What is going on the shelf is Payback. This is what was also leaked and reported to be maybe Destiny 3. Technically not Destiny 3. Internally, they would refer to it as the next Destiny. I don't know if the distinction is there, but they think there is a distinction there. But that is going on the shelf indefinitely, according to the people I've talked to. Either way, let's be clear, a Destiny 3 or next Destiny is just not the thing they are going to be coming out of this looking toward, let alone working on in any real way. That is insane to me because Destiny is one of their more successful projects, and obviously they're going to continue working on Destiny 2 and updating that, but you would think at this point they were going to be looking forward to something that was a true new iteration. There's going to be more content coming to Destiny 2, and Destiny 2 will still be supported. But personally speaking, talking to a lot of my friends that are into Destiny 2, they were looking forward towards a Destiny 3 at least sometime in the future, but that, at this point, is looking to be a ways away if it ever happens, given that this Payback title is going on the shelf indefinitely. What this remains with is Destiny 2 and Marathon being the primary titles that are being worked on. The issue with this is Destiny 2 is eventually just going to lose its luster unless they continue to do consistent updates for that, but at this point, I think it's going to be a case of you've peaked with Final Shape. Can you retain that level of enthusiasm without a Destiny 3? I don't know if that can be the case. So you have Destiny 2, which I think will be falling off from this peak, and you have Marathon, which they're still going to be working on that, and guys, I am unconvinced that game is going to do very well. We'll see. We don't even know that much about it, but we know that's one of the primary projects Bungie is going to be working on while all of these other projects get shelved, and one of their projects gets baked into this new Sony studios that they're creating, and 150 people from Bungie will be migrating to that studio. But if you're just talking about Destiny 2 and Marathon being the two primary projects, what's the outlook of Bungie if Marathon is a flop? Because that's a real possibility. If we're talking about this level of disaster right now, where there were projects in the works and Bungie probably expanded to a degree that was unsustainable, but what if one of the main projects that they're leaning on in Marathon also flops? Because that is a totally realistic possibility. Guys, these days with these live service games, more often than not, they flop than they are successful. Now, Bungie has a lot of cachet, they have a lot of notoriety, Marathon has a little bit of history to it. It'll have a little bit of attention right out the gate, but I don't know if that's going to be a fully sustainable experience, and that uncertainty is there with any kind of video game, but I feel like doubly so with Marathon, and I could see a world where Marathon is a disaster, and then where does that put Bungie? That is what I am more so worried about, but for now, they're going to work on Destiny 2 content, they're going to work on Marathon, but that is going to be an interesting topic to talk about. Also on top of that, Jeff Grubb yesterday noted Herman Hulse runs Bungie now. Also, they attempted to soften the blow by sending many people from Bungie into Sony Interactive Entertainment. That is what we talked about, this new studio, 150 people. Grubb noted, I thought the number of jobs lost was going to be closer to 350, which again, given that they outlined 150 people migrating to this new studio, that works out to around 350, 370 people. I'll put it as far as I know, which isn't everything by a long shot. In time, Bungie will lose its autonomy and will become like any other PlayStation Worldwide studio under SIE and Herman Hulst. And by in time, I just mean that this is a process that is starting now, but it is happening. So there you go. As far as that's concerned, Bungie is going to be brought more so in the fold within the PlayStation family. I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. A lot of PlayStation's decision-making has been somewhat questionable to me, but a lot of Bungie's decision-making has been questionable. And again, all of this is coming off the heels of an incredibly successful release in the final shape, which optically just looks really bad. I get it that this is a situation with a lot more nuance to it than just final shape being involved, but optically, when you're talking about delivering one of the best reviewed, literally one of the best reviewed games of the year, and then this crap show happening, it just looks absolutely awful as far as that's concerned. I also do want to talk about the story that is going around everywhere. Bungie CEO seemingly spent over $2.3 million on classic cars after Sony acquisition. That is Bungie CEO Pete Parsons, who apparently has spent all of that money on various classic cars. Somebody dug this up and a variety of cars were bought by him. The statement comes just 2 months after Parsons was seemingly the winning $91,500 bid for a 1961 Chevrolet Corvette on the vintage car auction site Bring a Trailer. Bungie lays off 17% of its workforce, unrelated, and the CEO has purchased quite a lot of classic cars. That $2.3 million number is staggering. Just think about how many yearly salaries that could have been for those people. $2.3 million could have been, what, 20 plus people's yearly salary for from Bungie, and just nope, CEOs are getting paid this kind of money. I get it that CEOs are gonna make their money, but this to this level is a little bit ridiculous, and people are gonna do with their money what they're gonna want to do, but that is insane. And given how the reaction internally, we're talking about news stories such as developers that have been off talking about how they were about to take their maternity leave, and then they just got laid off prior to them going on their maternity leave. That is insane. The treatment of the developers is ridiculous in this regard, especially when you add this $2.3 million story, which just came out or probably got more traction. And then on top of that, you're looking at, from an optics standpoint, Final Shape coming out and being so well received, and then people just getting canned from Bungie as a whole. This is one of the worst stories of the year, but it's not the only horrible story. Tango got shut down. There's a lot of disaster when it comes to studios delivering high-quality products and ultimately getting shut down anyway, based on the level of success not being at the level that shareholders had wanted or higher-ups had wanted, and that just paints a really bad picture for gaming as a whole. And I get it. I've been saying it for so long that we somehow need to scale back development costs for these games, but if CEOs are raking in this kind of cash and they're spending $2.3 million on classic cars, what are we even doing at this point? It's really just about making sure they make a ton of money, and then the developers, what? Even if they deliver something that's a commercial juggernaut, how big of a commercial juggernaut do these titles need to be to satisfy the higher-ups and the ones raking in a lot of the capital? I don't know, but it's an absolutely awful story. That's going to do it for me. I'm not the best person in terms of talking about all of the nuances and what this means in terms of the larger, grander scheme of gaming. What I can say, so heart goes out to the 220 employees that were affected and any other employees that are ultimately affected. 17% is no joke, and that's a gargantuan amount of people. And when you add in all of the context, it's just a really bad situation. So, unfortunate as far as that's concerned. That's going to do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.